Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and it's that time of year again. It's my birthday. So actually my birthday is in a week from today, so I wanted to get this video out and just talk to you guys about a few things that's going on in my head, my excitement for turning 35, a few life changes, and pretty much goals. The reality of living this kind of lifestyle and exploring and self-awareness and things like that. It's really interesting for me to be turning 35 because I've had a lot of crazy stuff happening to me these past 5 years. I look at life through a long-term lens. Everything's long-term to me. So you know, my 18th birthday was big, 21, and then after that things turn into like 25, 30, 35. So I look at things that way. When I make plans, I look at things long-term, 5, 10 years down the road. But 35 is a very special number for me because men in my family routinely don't really live past 70 years old, which is very, very sad, but it's the truth. So I'm kind of midlife crisis right now. Recently I had a really good conversation with an old military buddy of mine. I know some of you guys are new, but I was in the military for 10 and a half years. And at this point in my life, I'm about to turn 35, so at about 38, I would have been retired from the military. And all my friends, I have 7 friends who are still in, who are all getting to that point in their careers. And he asked me something. He asked me something that always comes up: do I regret leaving the military, and have I achieved the goals that I wanted to achieve when I left the military? I left the military around when I was about 28 and a half, 29, something like that. And to be perfectly honest, that's a difficult question, and I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about setting goals, reaching those goals, not reaching those goals, self-awareness, and a few other things. Here's the funny thing about goals: they change quickly, and I think one of the biggest drawbacks or one of the biggest issues that people have is they can't adjust. Or they get stuck in this mindset and mentality chasing a goal. I'll tell you something about myself, that when I was 30 years old, I didn't have a goal to go to every country in the world. I didn't have a goal to own a digital marketing company. I didn't have a goal to build a life in Asia. These are all goals that I have now at 35 years old. And a lot of the goals that I had at 30, I don't have anymore, because as time goes on, as we learn, as we develop, as we pursue these goals, we change. And we learn that some aren't attainable. We learn that some aren't worth the effort. And sometimes we learn that we just don't have the skills or the ability to achieve those goals. But what the key is, it's not to consider yourself a failure if you don't meet those goals. You're not a failure if you try and you make an effort and you learn. The key is to learn something from the journey, and that's the biggest part about any goal. It's the journey. It's learning. Once you hit the mark, it's over. But all those things that you learned along the way, those things stay with you. I'll give you a great example. A lot of you guys probably don't know that this entire minority Nomad thing started when I started a nonprofit foundation, 6 years ago. My goal was to take, I want to say it was, at the time it was 8 kids, 8 inner city kids abroad, get them passports, get them mentors, get them professional camera gear, teach symposiums in New York. It was this big, huge project, and it would have came up, I needed to raise about $52,000. And I had no idea what I was doing. Granted, I basically lived in the library. I went to the foundation center. I ended up getting myself a fiscal sponsor out of New York, an arts organization. We ended up doing an IndieGoGo campaign that went decently. But overall, there was absolutely no way for me to get the foundation up and running the way that I wanted to. And a scaled down version of it would have taken up far too much effort and time for what it would have turned over, and it would have hindered not only my progress professionally, but all the other people who were involved. I had other journalists, I had lawyers, I had politicians involved who all volunteered their time and their personal finances for this project. A lot of people would consider that a failure. I don't consider it a failure, because one thing I learned how to do I learned how not to run a nonprofit. I learned how not to run an IndieGoGo campaign. So the next time that we try, those lessons are learned. So when people ask me, have I achieved the goals? When my friend asked me, have I achieved the goals that I set for myself when I was 30? The answer is no. A lot of those goals I have not set or achieved, but I'm okay with that because I've learned so much along the way. You learn a lot from your failures. You didn't just naturally learn how to walk. You fell a lot, so you learned by falling. One of my biggest pieces of advice for somebody who is pursuing goals or who consistently doesn't achieve their goals and can't figure out why, is that you should try to fail every day. You should consistently try something every single day that you don't know. And every single day you will fail if you're pushing yourself to be better than you are, because that's how learning is done. Nobody just shows up. I remember somebody said that their grandfather was one of the people who taught Marvin Gaye how to sing, and this was in a group of friends of mine, and a lot of people was telling her that she was lying because Marvin Gaye's voice was a gift from God and you can't teach talent, etc., etc. And I call total bullshit on that. A lot of us have these innate abilities, these specific talents. For example, me, I'm a speaker, I'm a storyteller. This is my gift. This is what I enjoy doing naturally. I don't have to study this. But what I do have to study is how to pronounce certain words, how to keep an audience engaged, how to not say all the time, which I still do, by the way. I have to consciously work and practice to become a better speaker. A lot of people are natural writers, but you have to study the craft of writing and creating an interesting narrative. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, they're amazing athletes, genetically gifted, but you had to cultivate those skills through failure. So my advice to anybody, my advice to you watching this, is take the time today, tomorrow, the day after, to fail at something you're passionate about. So I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about this yet, but this is a good place to kind of put it in there. So I've been kind of away a bit because my father passed away. My father died on December 11th, so shortly before Christmas. So this is, late February now, so a couple months back. And I'm not that kind of I'm not a real public person when it comes to family. So I usually don't share things like this, but I think it's important that you guys know the details of my father's death. My father passed away at 52 from a heart attack. He wasn't an obese man or anything like that. He just had very poor life habits, and he made terrible decisions later in his life, and it cost him his life. And the reason I tell you this is because my father had a lot of regrets in his life. There's a lot of things that he did that he wished he could have taken back. There's a lot of things that he didn't do that I'm sure he wished he would have done. And me turning 35, that's 17 years away from when my father passed away. So I'm well over the halfway point by my father's life statistics, or life cycle, I guess. It's so weird talking about this. Like, it's so bizarre. But ever since his death, it's been my mortality has been in my head. I've always been aware of it, but I've always been a caution to the wind kind of person. And the mortality of things, I don't think you can really understand how short life is until you lose somebody close to you unexpectedly at a very young age. 52 is young for somebody to die of a heart attack. It's extremely young. And I've been wondering, I've been thinking to myself, am I making the most of the time that I have here? And I think I've done an amazing job of that in general. I think I'm really living life to the fullest. I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm having so much fun. I've got amazing friends, family. I travel the world for a living. It's great. but there's so many things that I want to do that I figured, oh, I've got all the time in the world. I'll get it done. I'll get to it, and I'll look up, and months have gone by, and now it's beginning in 2018, and I'm still playing with ideas that I had in 2015 that I haven't even started to execute yet. And the moral of the story is, because we never know how much time we have, and it's super cliche to say it, but it really is just hit home for me, and I don't think it can be said enough that we have to take the opportunities that we have right now today, the abilities, the opportunities, the energy that we have. We all come from different socioeconomic backgrounds and opportunities and physical abilities and mental awareness and focus and drive and determination levels. These are all varied amongst all of us, but we all have a specific ability to be passionate about something. If you're passionate about photography, pursue it. If you're passionate about sports, pursue it. If you're passionate about knitting, pursue it. If you're passionate about Pokemon, pursue it. And do at least take a small piece of your life and dedicate that to the thing that you love and you're passionate about, because you never know when it's going to be it and be done. So I know how busy everybody is, so of course, as usual, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. I hope this video again kind of shed a little bit of light on the way that I think about goals and self-awareness and moving forward, and I hope it helped you. Maybe leave a comment below if it did. If it didn't, leave a comment below. You guys know I answer almost everything, and again, leave the world better than you found it, because we never know how much time we got. So I'll see you guys in the next video.